It's a beautiful city of Honolulu, Oahu, in Hawaii. My name is Jong-woo Han. I am the president of Korean War Legacy Foundation, which has more than 1,500 interviews of Korean War veterans.
Wow.
Not just from the United States, but also other 21 countries that participate in the Korean War, like the United Kingdom, Canada, Thailand, Philippines, and so on. We are doing this to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the breakout of the Korean War that in 1950. It's been already 71 years, but we are continue to commemorate it as a special project of MPVA, Ministry of Patriot and Veterans Affairs of Republic of Korea. We do this to preserve your memory because it's been already more than 70 years ago. And we want to honor your service. But at the same time, Korean War has been known as forgotten war, so that we use this interview of Korean War veterans for the history teachers, so that teachers can use when they talk about the Korean War in the classroom for their own students. It's my great honor and meet you, and thank you for coming. Please introduce yourself. What is your name, sir?
Okay, it's Harold H. Yamauchi.
Could you spell your last name?
Okay, Y-A-M-A-U-C-H-I.
Yes, Yamauchi. So Yama is the mountain in Japanese, right?
Uchi means house.
House. So your last name is?
Mountain house.
Mountain house, or house on the mountain.
House on the mountain.
Yes, great. What is your birthday, sir?
January 27, 1931.
1920?
31.
31. So you are now 90 year old? You don't look
90.
like a 90-year-old man. What is the secret that you look so young?
One is keep active. I go walking every day. I also do a lot of volunteer at the church to help with the food bank, things like that.
So are you Christian?
Yes, I'm a Christian.
Ah.
I became a Christian in North Korea.
In North Korea? What does that mean? Tell me about it, how you become a Christian.
Okay. In the old days, most of the Orientals were non-Christian because, they just didn't have Christian church, I guess. So my sister married a major from Air Force major from New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
He was a Christian, so she became the first Christian in our family.
Yeah.
So when she found out that I was going to Korea, she gave me a small little Bible, Air Force Bible. I carried a Bible with me, Korea. They thought I was very religious because I carried it all over the place, but it was more like a good luck charm, and I carried that thing. One day, we were in a valley. They made me an appointment. You from Hawaii, they always make you go first. So they said, we're going in this valley to destroy the enemy position. And my assistant was an African American. So I got up. The enemy started shooting from the both sides of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
So my philosophy was, I ran into the valley because I felt if I'm going to die, I'm not going to walk in the valley and die. I ran in, we went all the way to the end, and there were no enemy in the valley, luckily. So I told my partner, go call those people, tell them we made it to the end. And would you believe he was carrying a walkie-talkie with a dead battery. Now we're in what they call deep kimchi. Eh? And then, so now he said, oh, they're going to leave us here to die. So I told him, oh, don't worry. As soon as it gets dark, we're going to sneak out of the valley, but I didn't know how we're going to stay alive until dark. But anyway, then 17 of those guys came in, and the enemy had us all trapped in a valley. And when I look at them, they're all waiting to the end to come, so I thought to myself, what a way to go. I'm going to cheer them up. I've never read the Bible. I don't even know what is in the Bible. I just pulled the Bible out, and I said, anybody want to read the Bible? They looked at me and they said, you got to be crazy, we're trapped. Then all of a sudden the sergeant said, let's get out of here. We got up and we got out of the valley. In the meantime, our commanding officer went go call for an artillery on both sides of the hill like this. And the whole valley was covered with smoke Amazing, eh? When we saw that and we came out of the tunnel, we said, wow, what a miracle. All 17 of us made it out alive. So when the pastor came, chaplain, I started going to, that's how I became a Christian.
Wow, that's a story,
Yeah,
huh?
when I saw that.
So you were not Christian, but even though you were not Christian, you were always carrying the Bible.
Yeah, my sister was a Christian,
Yeah.
so she gave me a Bible.
Right.
And I was carrying the Bible. I said, good luck, chum.
Yeah. But you
I
pulled
never
this
read
out.
it. Yeah, I pulled them out. I said, anyone read the Bible? And they said, you got to be crazy.
And that's how you become a Christian.
Yeah,
I see.
when I saw the miracle.
Yeah. So you look very young. And where were you born?
I was born in Wailai, Kahala area.
Could you spell it? Wailai?
Yeah, Wailai, Wailai, Kahala, Kala, Kahala.
Kahalla.
Yeah,
Kahala. And
that used to be all farming area.
I see.
Farming and
So tell me about your parents and your siblings when you were growing up. What do they do?
okay, they were all farmers. In those days, most of the Orientals were all laborers. They work on golf cars, and my brothers were all carpenters. You know, that kind of work they did.
I see.
They weren't working in an office or that kind of job.
How many siblings did you have? Your brother and
I had
sister?
4 brothers and 4 sisters.
So all 9 or 8?
Nine. It's a big family in those days.
So 5 boys and 4.
No, actually 4. Well, no, 8. Yeah, 4 boys and 4 boys, 4 girls.
And so tell me, what high school did you graduate?
I went to Kaimiki High School.
Could you spell it? Kai?
Kaimuki, Kaimuki High School.
Where in Ohio?
Oh yeah, it used to be in Kaimiki before.
When did you graduate?
1949.
1949. And you are ethnically Japanese, right?
Yeah.
Yes. But you were born here, and your parents came from Japan.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But so, when you were in the high school, did you learn anything about Korea?
No, we didn't even know where Korea was. Nobody knew about Korea. Amazing, eh? And
No.
2 of my classmates, the senior year, they quit school and they joined the army and they went to Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when we first found out about Korea. The ship was leaving the harbor to go to Korea. We didn't even know where they were going. They all...
So you never learned anything about Korea from the school?
No.
No history class, no geography class. So you didn't know where Korea was in the map?
Yeah.
You didn't know?
We knew it was somewhere by Japan anyway.
Uh-huh. Did you learn anything about Japan?
No, not much.
Not much. How about China?
Even China, mostly only the news. Otherwise, we didn't know too much.
So you didn't learn anything about Korea at all?
No, not
Yeah.
too much.
Now you are the Korean War veteran. So what do you think about that?
I'm so proud of Korea because when we were there, they were starving and things were really hard. But when I went back, when I started working for the government and went back to Korea,
When?
in the 50s, I guess, 50s, 60s, somewhere, and I saw Seoul, the country was just growing, the people was, I could tell that they weren't starving anymore. Things were really, so I was so happy when you fight for a country and when democracy came to Korea and the country was doing so well. I'm so proud of South Korea.
That's amazing, isn't it? You didn't know anything about Korea, but now you become one of the Korean War veterans who are very proud of what Korea has become today.
Yeah.
So tell me about after you graduate high school, Kaimuke High School, what did you do?
Okay. I was just working for a company doing the shipping, doing delivery and that kind of stuff. And then I got drafted.
Drafted. When were you drafted?
In 51, I guess.
1951?
Yeah, 51.
And so where did you go to get the basic military training?
We took basic training in Schofield Barrack. One of the things I remember was that we had a first sergeant who was real mean, but now I know why he did that. He wanted to give us discipline. One day after training was over, we were sitting on a sidewalk and talking story, when all of a sudden I saw the first sergeant coming out of the office. So I told him, "Oh, the first sergeant coming out of the office." So my two friends said, "He can't do anything to us. We're on our free time already." So I told him, "No, but I'm going back." So I got up and I went back to the barrack. As I passed in, he gave me a mean look. So every time I see Beetle Bailey, I think of that. Next thing you know, my two friends didn't come back, so we were on the third floor. I went out on the balcony to see what happened to my two friends. They were running around the track, and the first sergeant was standing there, just like in a comic strip. So I told him, "What happened?" He said, "You know what he told us?" He said, "If you don't have anything to do, why don't you exercise?" And he had to run. And nobody ever sit on a sidewalk, basically.
I see.
They're all in a barrack, cleaning the weapon or doing something.
So after that, when did you leave for Korea? From where?
From there, after basic training over, we had a 30-day leave. We came back, and they put us on a ship, and they shipped us out to Korea.
When was it?
In 50, I guess. I don't know the exact date, 51, 58. When was the war still going on?
So
North Korea.
So you graduated 1949,
So
and
gotta
then
be in the 50.
you were drafted into the army in 1951?
50, I think.
50. And then you went to Korea in 1950, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah. What month was it? Was it during the summer or spring?
It was spring.
Spring.
So I didn't get to see winter because it's a 9-month duty, but I was wounded twice, so they sent me home.
So must be the spring of 1951.
Yeah.
1951. Where did you arrive in Korea?
Maybe April.
Where?
Spring. Oh, so first we go to Japan. From Japan, they take you by train down south to Sasebo, way down south.
Yeah.
And from there, we're on a boat. They took us to Busan by boat. And from there, they put us on a train, and they took us up north. See, by that time, remember the communists came all the way down, and MacArthur cut them off. So they were all up in Manchuria, and they thought the war was end already. Then Chinese communists came in.
Yep.
That's when we went there.
Yeah. So you were in, what was your unit? What division?
7th Division, 31st Regiment, Love Company.
How about battalion? What battalion?
Oh, maybe 2nd Battalion.
Mm-hmm. And Love Company, L Company.
Yeah.
And you are a rifleman?
Yes. My first job was a BAR, they call it Browning automatic weapon. I was assistant, and the Browning automatic was from Hawaii. They put 2 Hawaii guys together, and they put us on the very top of the hill. One day, they said they're having a hot meal on the bottom. So my partner said, "I'm going down for a hot meal." He was going down. The enemy shot him. So the squad leader came up with a bar. He gave it to me. He said, "You're the barman now." But I didn't go for eat breakfast because it wasn't worth it.
Yeah. So from Busan, you went up to where did you go?
In North Korea, anyway, I forget what, middle part.
But it's an iron triangle.
Yeah.
Were you in the Geumhwa Valley?
Yeah, Kumwa.
Geumhwa and Cheolwon?
Chowan, yeah, Chowan, Kumwa, that's where I was.
And so, from Busan to up north, you've been seeing Korean cities, Korean people. How was it at the time? Just be honest and describe in detail. How was the situation in Korea?
Well, I guess they were kind of starving too because some of the guys would come into the train when the train stopped. I thought they were cleaning and they were grabbing whatever.
You mean the Korean people?
Yeah. They're taking the food, whatever left over. So they must have been very hard. Times were pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
So
when you arrived in Geumhwa and Cheolwon, so tell me, what kind of work did you do? What kind of battle did you do?
Okay, at first it was more like at that time was a defensive type of war. It wasn't both sides. They were on one side, we were on one side, and it was mostly patrol. We go out night patrol, things like that. Then the first patrol I was going out on, and before that, I was on we had a front line. I was on the very bottom of the line. They put me. I was a squad leader by the time, so, and then, I remember one time I saw there was a light in a minefield. So one of my men came up to me and said, "There's somebody in a minefield." I told him, "No, there's nobody in a minefield. Why would anybody go in a minefield at night?" He said, "No, he's all upset with me." So I said, "Okay, now I got to go in a minefield to find out what's in there." I went there. I saw the light jumping there.
Uh-huh.
It was a firefly. I didn't know.
Firefly.
Yeah. So I came back. I told the guy, "If you see a light in a minefield, it's not the enemy. It's a firefly. So don't worry." Then from there they moved me. I had to go to the outpost. There was a minefield between the outpost and our line. So then they put me in charge of the outpost. So we used to go there and
so you had to go through the minefield.
Yeah, but there was a trail. See, I knew what a trail.
I see.
So you don't step on a mine,
Uh-huh.
And then.
But still very scary, isn't it?
Yeah, they're dangerous.
Yeah.
In fact, prior to when I became a squad leader, when we went on night patrol, we came to a barbed wire fence, and the leader, he told us, "Okay, wait here. I'm going to look for a trail to get out." So he was walking. All of a sudden, there was an explosion.
Oh.
And they have a light, that's flare, started spreading. And he was in the middle of the minefield.
Oh.
Now he got to walk out without stepping on a mine. He came out. He was wounded. So I became the squad leader. And I said, "No, I'm not going to walk through there looking." So I went back up the hill. And I told him, guys, "How do you get out to the no man's land?" So the guy told me, "Oh, we have a trail going down." So I just followed the trail, went down. And there was a graveyard over there. And I knew that nobody liked to go to a graveyard at night. So the safest place to be at night is a graveyard. So whenever my turn to go patrol, I always told the guys, "I'm going to be in a graveyard. So if you see anybody walking in a graveyard, it's not a ghost. So don't shoot, So I used to always go to the graveyard.
That was a smart idea, right?
When I think about it today, I would never go in a graveyard at night.
But how close were you between enemy and us? How close was it?
We didn't know where enemy. It was no man's land, so
That's a very scary, isn't it?
They were, every time you go out, they could be anywhere,
But you told me over the lunch, you said that always they put you in front of everybody. Tell me about it. How did it happen?
When I first went there was a hill they call a Triangle Hill.
Uh-huh.
So they told me, "Okay, you're going to be the point man." So I went up the hill.
Why you? What was your rank at the time?
Same as the other guys, all PFC, and the sergeant
PFC?
the sergeant just picked me because I'm from Hawaii. Yeah?
Why is that? I mean, there were
that's a good
white
reason.
men. There were white men and black men.
No, yeah, we had some black guys. but
Yeah,
not too much.
and Asian.
Yeah,
But why you?
I don't know. They
But
always pick me.
That's all very dangerous, isn't
Yeah.
it?
So I went up the hill, and when 3/4 of the way, I told myself, what am I doing? And the rest of the guys were all hiding on the bottom of the hill. So I thought, what am I doing there? One enemy come up and I'll be dead. I came back down. And would you believe 7 months later, we tried to take that hill.
Mm-hmm.
Our whole company got wiped out.
Whole company?
Yep. And I was hit by a grenade. And I was lying down. And I like to tell you about some unsung hero, they call it. This guy came up to me. He told me, let's charge up the hill. So I got up. I started charging up the hill. Went over 10 yards. He fell down. I turned him over. Here's a brand new second lieutenant. He didn't even get a chance to change his clothes.
아이고.
He just came there and he got killed.
Oh.
So then I figured the enemy going to kill me next. So I'm looking at the hill. Then I see one of our men up on a hill. So I figure he got to be wounded. So, so I went up to him. I told him, are you wounded? He told me, no, I'm not. This is a great story. He said, my buddy is dying. I don't want him to die. This white soldier is holding an African-American soldier who's his buddy. He's holding his body, waiting for him to die, keeping him company.
Ah.
But my philosophy is that why let him die? So I pull him out of the hole,
Mm-hmm.
and we, I tell him, grab his leg. We drag him down the hill, halfway down the hill, when medic came. So there's a good chance they have saved his life. And like a fool, I didn't go down with him. Then they said, withdraw. So now I started withdrawing. I was the only one alive on a hill, Triangle Hill.
Really?
And at the bottom of the hill was a stack of body. All our officers, all our sergeants were either wounded or killed. And I was the only survivor, so they promoted me to a sergeant. And they gave me all new guys, and they moved us to another area, Charlie Outpost. Then I went to Charlie Outpost, and the new CO came and he told me, okay, Harold, I want you to go replace the lieutenant on Charlie Outpost. I said, okay. So I was going up Charlie Outpost. I was halfway up Charlie Outpost when I happened to look down. And there was somebody on the bottom of it. He told me, get down, get down, get down. I went down, and it was a lieutenant. He said, where's your officer? I said, we don't have any officer. So he said, oh, I'm also a replacement. He said, Charlie Outpost is occupied by the enemy. They overran Charlie Outpost. And here I was going to walk up there, knock on the door. And that guy would say, do you speak Korean? And I would have been in big trouble. But I went down, and I thought, like, okay, I'll replace you that night. So I had to take my man. When I got replaced, I stayed there for, I don't know how many months, but then from there, they called me back. I was so happy because by that time I was 7 months. I was supposed to go to Japan. Then the guy said, well, we're going to be taking Charlie Outpost. And I'm in a triangle again. So
You had to go back to Triangle again?
yeah, again.
That's
And
unfair.
I know. And this time they just wipe us out.
But when you saw that, when you told me that you are the only one who survived that
Yeah.
battle, and the whole company was wiped out,
Yeah.
what were you thinking when you saw people dying like flies, you know?
Gee, funny, yeah. I guess when you're young, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't having nightmare or anything like that.
Were you not scared?
No. When you're young, I'm just glad I'm alive, that's all.
And so you saw so many of your soldiers
they're all
being
dead.
killed.
Yeah.
Oh.
Amazing, boy.
So you were very lucky.
Yeah, I am.
So you always put into the front.
Yeah, always in
And
the front.
you had to force yourself to become the target, but you're the only one who actually survived.
Amazing. God was with me. I shouldn't say that, but
Right. Oh, unbelievable. Any other episode you remember that you might have been killed? You said that you were wounded, right?
Yeah.
How did it happen and where were you wounded?
okay. And then, the first time I was wounded over here, I still have the shrapnel there. I didn't remove it yet.
Why not?
Well, at that time, I didn't want my family to know I was wounded. So, my mom was a widow, so I didn't want to. It was a minor wound, so I left it in. It's still there.
Still there, shrapnel.
One day I'm gonna go to AAA and tell them, hey, I want a Purple Heart.
So, don't you feel the pain now?
No, I just can feel that thing.
Uh-huh.
So anyway.
How did it happen?
Well, that's the time when we're trying to take that Triangle Hill. They were throwing grenade at us. I was hit. So.
But you didn't make a report?
No, I didn't want them. Because it was a minor wound, I thought I'll go home. And when I came back, they told me, nah, if you don't bother, leave it in. But as a matter of principle, I'm going to go back and tell them, I want you to take it out, and at least I get a Purple Heart for it.
But you said that the trench was like a coffin. So many people were killed, and they were just stacked up in the trench hole, right? Foxhole hole.
Just on the
Tell me about
on the
it.
floor.
Tell me.
Yeah, when I came back down, there was this Korean soldier standing there, and all the bodies were stacked like this. I knew all the guys, but I didn't want to go to see who was killed and who wasn't. So I went to report to the company, and there was one guy there. He said, all the officers, all the sergeants, all the men are gone. So they promoted me to a sergeant.
Facts about China that will blow your mind.
And then I became a sergeant in over 4 months, I think. Then,
In a 4 month.
yeah, after that, they gave me all new guys. Then we went to another area, and I had to.
Another area where? Do you remember?
Charlie Outpost.
Charlie Outpost. And you told me about you step on the snake episode. Tell me about it. What happened?
Oh, yeah. When I first went on the front line, they put me in the last bunker. And next to the bunker was a coffin, a piece of wood like this. And the trench was like this, 4 feet trench, 4 feet deep trench. And there was a wood, and my bunker was right there. I was sleeping there. Nobody wanted to sleep next to a coffin, so they put me over there. I was sleeping. I got up in the morning, there was a dead snake. During the night, I must have stepped on him.
You might have stepped on it.
I had to step on him. Amazing. I didn't even know there was a snake. Otherwise, he would have bitten me while I'm lying down.
So that was another lucky episode.
Yeah.
So you could been bitten by the snake if you didn't step on
him.
But you didn't know that you were stepping on it.
Until next morning when he came lighted, I saw the snake on a coffin.
So how many times you could been killed there?
Oh man, about 4 or 5 times. I think 4 times. Yeah.
But you are still in one piece.
Yeah. I got wounded. The last time I got wounded was they put me in charge of taking Charlie Outpost. So I ran up there with my man. We went 3/4 of the way. I told him, we'll wait. We're not going to take Charlie Outpost so we waited there until the rest of the guys came up, but nobody came. We were waiting for them to come up. In the meantime, one of my new men, because I lost all my men, so I had this new guy. He was crying.
Why?
So I told him, why are you crying? He said, well, there's a dead body. I said, never mind, that's not one of us, but it was an American soldier. They left it there to psych his mind. And he was crying.
Oh.
So I put him in a hole, but he saved my life because I put him in a hole, he was crying, and I'm lying flat on my stomach. And I'm talking to him on a soft dirt, just talking to him and trying to calm him down. When a motor round landed right next to me,
Oh.
blew me up in the air. When I landed, my leg was fractured. So when he saw me wounded, he said, medic, medic. I said, no, don't call a medic, because I didn't want the enemy to know that they made a hit. So then I started crawling down. And as I was going down the hill, one of the men was coming up. And he told me, Harold, you got $1 million wound. And the word $1 million wound means you're alive. So I told myself, I didn't think I was going to come home alive, because everybody else was all dead. I thought, when you're young, you don't think of that kind of stuff. I figured, okay, I'll give my life for my country. But as I was crawling down, the guy said, you got $1 million wound. That's when I said, hey, you know something? I think I'm going home. I got to the bottom, and a medic came, and he bandaged my leg. And the guy carried me back to the front line. Then I was waiting there. We had a battle going on, but we didn't even have an ambulance. Then finally the medic came, and the medic was all bleeding. He was the second guy wounded, so two of us were standing there. Then when a jeep came, he put us on a jeep, and there's no medic. So he's driving on the road, and the medic is unconscious, and he's dying, bleeding to death. So I pound the roof. I told the driver, the medic is bleeding to death. He told me, hang on. He drove fast. We went into the aid station, and 1 month later, I was in Japan, and I saw the medic. I was so happy because
Oh, you met him again in
I
Japan.
thought he died, but he was alive.
Wow, you saved him. Very good.
Then I went to the rehab center where we exercise. And one of the best things I ever did was that, right after the Second World War, I guess, so Japan was still kind of poor yet. So I used to go to the PX and buy all kind of candy. And I had to go exercise, so I just gave candy to the kids. They were so happy, to see me.
What about Korean soldier? You told me about Mr. Kim, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that story.
Well, okay. He told me he was getting married, and he only had one pack cigarette.
Who was him? Did he fight with you?
Yeah, he was one of my men.
Okay.
So being that I'm from Hawaii, I run around with the Kim and the Lee, and so for me, he was just a buddy.
Yeah.
He was so happy because I treated him like a buddy. I gave him all kinds of stuff, and so. Then when he was going to get married, I went around the camp and I got all the goods from the guys. I took them to him and said, hey, this is your wedding gift.
What gift? What kind of?
All canned goods, corned beef, you name it.
And cigarette.
Yeah, cigarette, everything. Candy, all that kind of stuff. I just gave them to him as a wedding gift. I was so happy.
So those like a ham and cigarette, that was all very expensive at the black market.
So I get a whole bunch of it to him.
And give it to him, and it serves as a money, right?
Yeah, for his wedding gift. And I always, if I ever did anything good in a war, that's what I did.
But Mr. Yamauchi, I want to ask you this question again. There were many other people there, but why you were forced to put it into the front line and become the target? Is it like is that because it was your Asian? Oriental.
I think so.
So it's kind of racist.
Racist, yeah.
Did you feel that at the time?
No, funny. I just thought, okay, they want me to go, I'll go.
But if you look back, if you if you are the white soldier, then they would not ask you to. Right.
I wouldn't be going.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it was kind of unfair from the standpoint.
All right.
But when I got promoted, became a squad leader, I always treated all my men equal, regardless of being from Hawaii. There's one advantage you get,
Yep.
I never, I treated everybody equal.
Because you already experienced the mixed blood here in Hawaii, right? And many different color people, right?
Yeah.
Asians and Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Philippines, all living together. Right? So I think
That's the beauty of it. And we don't take any, we just treat everybody according to.
So let me ask this question. What was the most difficult thing during your service in Korea? If I ask you to just say one out of many difficult things that you experienced in Korea, what would you say? What was the most difficult thing?
Man, something I don't even have, honest. I cannot think of any difficult thing. Well, naturally, I wanted to go home.
Did you write the letter back to your family?
Yeah.
Were you able to write the letters?
And we didn't get, but I used to get letters from my friends.
But you didn't write it?
Not too much. Yeah.
Why? Why
well,
not?
We're in the front line, and we don't have all this kind of.
So when did you leave Korea?
Oh, after I got wounded, and.
But you didn't get the Purple Heart.
No, I got one Purple Heart.
Oh, you got one Purple Heart.
I was hit in the leg, and that's the one I was crawling down, and the guy told me, you got $1 million wound. They sent me to Japan, and would you believe this? I was in Osaka hospital. I was lying on a bed, operating table. This doctor and the nurse came. They didn't even say hi or anything, just sat down. And before I know it, the doctor started removing the shrapnel from my leg. It was so painful. Nobody, gave me a shot or anything like that.
Why not?
I don't know. So what I did was I grabbed the blanket, just held on to it. I thought I was going to die. It was so painful, I thought I was going to die. Oh yeah, if anything, I would say that was the worst. And finally, when the operation was over, the nurse got up and said, why didn't you tell us you was hurting? I should have yelled.
Come on, but they have to know that they were operating without anesthesia, right?
I guess they do so much operation that they forgot that.
How can they forget about it?
I know. But to them, you'd be ridiculous, huh?
It doesn't make any sense at all.
It sure doesn't.
How much were you paid at the time?
Hey, what was our pay? $150 or what?
What did you do with that money?
Well, I used to send them home because my mom was a widow. We had a farm, and the farm was no farm in it, but she was making at least $90 a month. She was living on that. And when I came home, I was able to go to school at Honolulu Technical School, take up drafting. And my second year, I was the first student to be hired by the engineering firm of Lon Wilson. And he was a former military, so he knew about the GI Bill. They paid half my income was paid by the government. For 3 years, I had to go and take corresponding course, night school, to become a technician, qualified technician. Then later on, I worked for the Coast Guard in a civil engineering department as a technician. And the beauty of I'm really grateful to the Coast Guard, the government, because I was able to send my 3 kids to college, and my 3 sons all having a good life. So I'm grateful.
Very good, very good. And since then, when did you go back to Korea?
Oh yeah, then one year they had a going back, so we went back as a group.
When was it?
Oh man, I can't even remember so long. 10 years ago. Or
10 years ago?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. But Korea is tremendous. I cannot
Tell me
believe.
about it. Tell me, many young children will listen to this interview. They don't know how Korea was in 1951 when you were there. And you saw Korea completely changed in 2010 when you revisited. Tell me the detail. How different that was?
Okay, when we first went to Korea during the war, they were starving, because the communists had run over the country and they were really starving and everything. We had to give them food, in fact, chow food. They were eating out of the... Then when I went back, so many years later, I couldn't believe that Korea was such a modern city and the people and they had nice restaurant. We ate in. So I was so happy to see Korea as, such a wonderful country.
When you left Korea because of your wounds in your leg, did you ever imagine that Korea would become like this today?
No, I didn't know that. I didn't realize.
Why not?
Of course. No, I'm not a political thing, so I accepted everything the way it was, They were starving and look at them. Today now I'm thinking differently. I'm so happy to see a country like Korea.
What did you see in Seoul?
Wow, the buildings and the cars and the people, it was modern.
It's much bigger than Honolulu.
Yeah, it is. Amazing. It's a modern city.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Not really, right?
But that makes you feel good for you fought for a good reason. Yeah?
Good reason,
They say
yes.
freedom is not free. So
Youth-
if I ever proud of Korea, any country, Korea would be the country.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you were able to see completely changed Korea,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
From a starving country to a modern country.
Do you know the rank of Korean economy now in the world? Rank of Korean economy in the world.
I don't. They were up there, the top 10 anyway.
Number 10.
Or number 10.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Boy. But look at all the product we have over here, Korean things.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we are doing this. Even though such a beautiful outcome came out of your service, but still, Korean War in the history textbook is very one paragraph. Only one paragraph. That's not fair.
Yeah, people went through hell, boy.
So that's why we are doing this interview, so that we can use this interview in the classroom for our teachers and students.
Yeah. War is hell, as I say.
Yeah. Any other episode you remember that you didn't tell me yet? Any other episode? Think about it, please, because I think you told me other stories too over the lunch we had together.
Yeah. I can't think of much.
Okay. But you already told me so much story that you are really put forward in the outpost area, which become the target of enemy. But you are the one who survived it, and you are not Christian, but you carry all the time with the Bible. And now you saw that miraculously you were saved by the artillery, right?
So now I go to church every Sunday,
You-
Tuesday,
You believe in God?
Kaliyonin church.
Okay. And you believe in God?
Definitely.
Definitely. Excellent. Mr. Yamaguchi, it was my luck to meet you over the lunch today. And this has been a wonderful interview. And
Another thing is I have a son in Tokyo.
Uh-huh.
He teaches English, and he made a church over there.
Oh.
He started a church, Hope Chapel, Tokyo.
Really?
Amazing, eh?
Can you, what's his name?
Ross, R-O-S-S. Ross Yamauchi,
And he is in Tokyo?
Tokyo.
I was Tokyo And if I go visit again,
You can go visit Hope Chapel, Tokyo.
where is it?
I don't know.
You never been there?
No, I went, but I cannot remember.
Okay, so can you give me his contact information?
Pardon?
His phone number?
Yeah, if I,
Later, okay? Yeah, so that I can meet him because I am Christian too.
Oh,
Okay?
so let me see if I can.
Yeah, later. You can give it to me later, okay? So, Mr. Yamaguchi, thank you so much again fighting for Korean people.
I'm glad.
You glad. And you know that Japan and Korea has a past history,
I
not
know, terrible.
terrible history, but you are the one who actually fought for Korean people, and now you're happy about it. So this is a very good story. We need to talk more about it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What would you be your message to the Korean people? What would you say to the Korean people?
I just say keep up the good work. Freedom is not free, so for their ancestors, their children, a good life. I'm so happy.
Mr. Yamaguchi, thank you so much for your stories. Thank you.
Okay.